Hello and welcome to Clearview Television News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. In the news, 60 presidential candidates in 2019 general elections faults PDP and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar over controversy surrounding use of a server, describes it as unnecessary. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo assures of federal government's commitment to rescue of Leah Sharibu, one of the schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram in Dapchi, Yobe State. Iran says U.S. decision to order sanctions on its supreme leader and other officials has permanently closed path to diplomacy between Tehran and Washington. I am Prudence Okonna with the details of these and many more. The leadership of the Yoruba Socio-Cultural Group Afenifere met this Tuesday with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa Abuja, where it renewed its demand for true federalism if the challenges facing the country must be adequately addressed. The group, led by Pa Ayo Fasomi, made 4 other requests cutting across security, education, youth employment, and power supply. The 5 demands of the Afenifere leaders were clearly articulated in a prepared speech read by Senator Olabi Durojaye.
We recommend clinging to the spirit and letters of our federal constitution. This is one sure way of achieving the desired goal of unity even in diversity, mutual respect, tolerance, and giving true meaning to the opening phrase in our constitution, that is, we the people. We will be a great nation if we sincerely practice true federalism and think and act as Nigerians rather than as champions of the smaller units we were born into. Our big size is an asset worthy of preservation. Good examples of big size, hard work, and prudent spending are the United States of America, China, and India. It is not with violence or hate speeches, but with mutual trust, self-respect, and tolerance that we will speedily achieve the lofty destiny of this great country, Nigeria.
Responding, President Buhari, who gave no committal answer, restated his administration's commitment to solving the various challenges facing the nation.
You know, is what when I say we this time around, I mean our party, what we campaigned on 2015 and this year. The security, economy, and fighting corruption. These things are basic in the sense that you cannot secure a country or an institution unless you secure it. And what was happening in the northeast and is still happening to some degree, and now in north central or in the southwest, prove that we have made some progress, but there are still some problems. And those problems, we are trying to solve them within our physical and material resources.
Speaking with State House correspondents after the meeting, the APC national leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was on the Afenifere delegation, shed more light on the group's mission.
The first step on the security of the country to really see a way out to stem any speech of hate, intolerance across the nation, and look at it, the problem of security, holistically and from the grassroots level. Uh, Including the fact that there's a shortage of police personnel and the need to, you know, look at recruitment from 777 listed local governments and be able to effectively have information grassroots. Once it takes time to train people. You equally create employment from such an action. I mean, employment for the people and strengthen the security, intelligence, communication at the grassroots. Uh, those are the areas of discussion.
Others who attended the meeting were Chief Shagun Osoba, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, Senator Adedayo Adeyeye, and Chief Kemi Nelson. Also at the meeting were Laoye Tomori, Solomon Akindele, Elder Yemi Alade, Mitiu Are, amongst others. And a meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and a delegation from Nasarawa State has ended at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, traditional rulers from the state, and other leaders were among the delegation. The state governor, Abdullahi Sule, led the delegation to see Buhari. It was unclear the agenda of the closed-door meeting. However, it was learned that security is likely to be the agenda.
Have faith in Mr. President just like he has faith in us. But more than that, you can see the caliber of people who have come to visit Mr. President. It's an array of every nationality within Nasarawa State. This is reassuring the President of our commitment and loyalty towards him and his administration, and to also support him in his security and peace initiative to ensure that Nasarawa State will continue to maintain its own security and peace status so that Nigeria can be a good place for all of us.
We came to thank him for appointing some of our sons. You know, the Inspector General of Police is the son of Nasarawa State. The DG NYC is the son of Nasarawa State. So we came to express our appreciation to him for doing that. In addition, for all the other things that he has done for Nasarawa State, dualization of some of our roads, you know, building some of the institutions that we are seeing for the federal government, and then appointing so many other sons and daughters of Nasarawa State here at the federal agencies.
And about 60 presidential candidates in the 2019 general elections have faulted the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar over the controversy surrounding the use of a server, describing it as unnecessary. They also criticized the report of European Union Election Observer Mission, which alleged a lack of transparency in the guidelines of election. The parties, under the aegis of Joint Forum of 60 presidential candidates and national chairmen, at a press conference addressed by Alhaji Mohammed Shitu, said the Independent National Electoral Commission did creditably well. The event was also attended by the co-convener of the forum and chairman of the West African Coalition of Political Parties, Chief Perry Okpara. Shitu said the INEC server is a plot to discredit the election, as political parties never agreed with INEC in any of the several pre-election meetings that results will be transmitted electronically. He maintained that parties agreed on other issues which were implemented, noting that it is worrisome that only one political party out of 91 is saying a different thing on the presidential election, while at the same time praising its performance on other elections, especially governorship conducted by the same INEC. They urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sign the Electoral Act amendment into law once it is presented to him again by the National Assembly, adding that the amendment will hugely improve the nation's electoral system and its processes. A former deputy president of the Senate, Dike Ekweremadu, has said the constitution amendment carried out by the 8th National Assembly had substantially addressed the problem of proliferation of political parties in Nigeria. Ekweremadu, who was also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Constitution Review for 12 years, stated this in a statement on Tuesday and signed by his media aide Uche Anichukwu. Ekweremadu said it further empowers INEC to deregister any party that fails to win at least one ward in the chairmanship election or one seat in the National Assembly or State House of Assembly election or one seat in the councillorship election. He explained that a political party may continue to exist, but once it appears on the ballot, it becomes compulsory for it to meet certain benchmarks to continue to exist. He said it is incumbent on INEC to filter out and deregister those political parties that appeared on the presidential election ballot but did not garner at least 25% of votes in at least one state of the Federation. Ekweremadu added that the efforts to check the mushrooming of political parties started in the 6th National Assembly in 2010 by the stopping of subventions by INEC to political parties. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has called on local government electoral officers to make suggestions and give advice on all the issues relating to the whole gamut of conducting elections to improve future polls. This, according to INEC, is because preparation for general elections, movement of staff, opening of polling units, coordination of polling units, activities on election day, reverse logistics are heavily dependent on the electoral officers. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu gave these indications Monday at the opening of the post-2019 General Elections Review meeting with 380 electoral officers from 19 states in Abuja. Clearview TV's Anyete Patrick has more.
INEC described as secondary comments from other sources except EOs, whom he said truly conduct elections at the level that matters, which is the polling unit. Yakubu acknowledged that before the conduct of elections, deployment of sensitive materials, party primaries, the EOs had already begun the job of coordinating these four activities for INEC at the ward levels. He explained that 380 EOs are first taken for convenience, while the next batch will be taken in the next 2 days, as the exercise is for the 774 EOs representing each local government area. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Planning, Monitoring and Strategy Committee and other European observers say the review meeting with EOs covers 7 thematic areas. These include registration area, RAC, preparation and election day activities, logistics, voter registration, recruitment, trainings and remuneration of all categories of election officials, publicity and stakeholders engagement, election results management, and management of electoral processes at the LGA levels, for which the EOs are directly responsible.
I know myself the importance of this sector of the electoral fabric, and without them you cannot have elections. So the Commission is showing a very, very deep commitment in analyzing the process in depth, because not only this exercise is done at the level of Abuja with electoral officers, but as you all know, has been done at the state level, is continuing in Lagos, but it will also be implying the external stakeholders, media, political parties, security agencies. So I am in admiration for this exercise that the Independent National Electoral Commission is conducting so thoroughly.
It has been said that elections are not perfect. We have to consider a number of factors and take into consideration many things in order to do what we need to do at the level of the polling units, at the level of collation stations, at the level of all the processes that we need to put in place in order for an election to take place.
Despite the difficulties and rotation of centers, the Commission said it was able to register over 14 million new voters within a period of 18 months, noting such feat was only achievable through the work of the EOs at the local government levels. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
The senator representing Abia North, Dr. Oji Uzokalu, has said that the Southeast geopolitical zone played bad politics during the 2019 polls and should expect nothing from the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). Kalu, who stated this at his country home Igbere in Bende Council area, explained that it was only in his Abia North zone that President Muhammadu Buhari and APC won over 60% of the votes cast in the former eastern region. His words: Southeast didn't support APC and we are paying for it today. We didn't vote, others voted 60-40, but the Southeast went on a straitjacket. Other regions were very smart. If I am the president, I might even be tougher than what is happening. You didn't vote for APC and you are not entitled to anything. If you work, you eat. You didn't work for APC and you're expecting them to give you Senate President. You want them to give you Deputy Senate President. He described Ndibo as the salt of the Nigerian nation and urged the people to come together and show their strength. Kalu pledged to provide quality representation to his constituency as well as make consultation of his constituents a priority throughout his tenure. And Niger State government has been advised to reconstitute the State Primary Health Care Development Agency Governing Board. Addressing newsmen in Mina, the Niger State capital, the State Coordinator Primary Health Advocacy Team, Kalejaye Lasokomi, pleaded with the state governor to exempt the board from the recent dissolution of all boards, agencies and parastatals in the state. Clearview TV's Rose Audu has more.
Kalejaye also called on the state government to fund, complement and ensure accountability of the state health delivery plan to accomplish universal coverage in the state.
Our intervention covers health system strengthening and intervention through policy advocacy and service provision. In the past 3 years, we have received support from Amaye Nigeria to carry out a PAC system strengthening advocacy intervention in Niger State. In the phase 1 of the project, we advocated for costed minimum service package (MSP), which was achieved. On the phase 2 of the project, which started last year, April, we had 2 advocacy objectives, which are 1, leadership and governance, 2, repositioning. These two objectives are pillars of PAC policy. This project has since achieved one of its intervention targets, while the second is halfway achieved. And it should be noted that our intervention has brought the state to second best state in primary health care advocacy, primary health care development agency (SPCDA) in Nigeria on PAC RAF scorecard 4. As part of the commitment of this coalition, we joined other stakeholders across Africa to commemorate the Day of African Child 2019, because the health of the African child, especially that of under 5, is paramount to us. Because 23% of our children still die of preventive diseases. We want to first acknowledge the effort of the state government and all non-state actors across the state and the federal government for the effort in investing in the health sector to meet most special health needs of women and children, despite the competing challenges for resource allocation and implementation at all corners. This coalition is calling on the government of Niger State, under the leadership of His Excellency Al-Haji Dr. Abubakar Sani Bello, to fund, implement and ensure accountability of the state health delivery plan to accomplish universal health coverage in Niger State. Universal health coverage means that all inhabitants of Niger State get quality health services where and when they need them without suffering barriers of location and financial hardship. The Primary Healthcare State Advocacy Team in Niger State is a coalition of civil society, CSOs, and media with common goals and focus on improvement of primary healthcare PHC service in the state. It should be noted that the coalition have also worked with other stakeholders in the state to advocate to state government to inaugurate the State Primary Healthcare Governing Board, which was widely celebrated in September 2018, but have suffered a setback as it was affected by mass dissolution of all boards and parastatals in the state during transition.
The governing board, which was inaugurated last September and had the Deputy Governor Ahmed Ketsu as the chairman, had less than 8 months in office before it was dissolved along other boards. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
And pensioners in Osun State on Tuesday staged a peaceful protest in Osogbo, Osun State capital, to demand payment of 15 months arrears of pension owed them by government. Addressing the protesters, who carried banners with inscriptions such as EFCC should probe Aregbesola, retirees are dying, pension gratuity is our right, the chairman of the Forum of 2011-2012 pensioners, Mr. Yemi Lawal, declared that Osun retirees were the most traumatized in the country. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has disclosed that he took a loan of 7 billion naira to pay workers' May salaries. He said this on Monday while addressing leaders of the All Progressives Congress in the state. He added that he would rather focus on ensuring good governance in the state than preoccupy himself with the actions or inactions of his predecessor. State-owned primary and secondary schools in Rivers have been directed to stop collecting fees and levies from pupils and students with immediate effect. Governor Nyesom Wike gave the directives on Monday during a meeting with the heads of primary and secondary schools, Senior Secondary Schools Board and Universal Basic Education Board at the Government House, Port Harcourt. He said the abolition of all forms of fees and levies in public primary and secondary schools across the state was intended to create access to quality education. Wike also stated that the state government would be sending direct allocations to all primary and secondary schools management for their operations. He directed the Ministry of Education, the Senior Secondary Schools Board and the Universal Basic Education Board to monitor all public schools across the state to ensure full compliance. The governor also noted that his administration funded the salaries, allowances, examinations and equipment of all public schools. He assured parents that his administration was committed to the provision of quality and accessible education to the less privileged. The Akwa Ibom State government has faulted the UK government for the travel ban issued on its citizens, tagging the state along with 20 others in Nigeria as unsafe in Nigeria. In a letter signed by the secretary to the state government, Emmanuel Ekumen, the state government stressed that Akwa Ibom remains one of the most peaceful, safe and secure states in Nigeria. The letter addressed to the British High Commissioner in Nigeria said it is incontrovertible and unvarnished fact that Akwa Ibom remains one of the most peaceful states in the country. The British government had warned its citizens not to travel to 21 states in Nigeria because of kidnappings, terrorism, militancy and diseases. In a statement posted on its website and updated on Monday, June 17, 2019, the FCO said frequent attacks by terrorist sect Boko Haram in the restive northeastern region of Nigeria, raids by armed bandits in the northwest and north-central states, kidnapping across Nigeria, fatal diseases like Ebola and Lassa fever, and militancy in the south-south have made Nigeria a dangerous destination for the rest of the world, making allusion to statements by the General Officer Commanding of the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Jamil Sarham, during a courtesy call on the state governor, Udom Emmanuel, in October last year. The SSG said the GOC had commended the peaceful nature of the state and rated it as the most peaceful and violence-free of all the areas under his command. You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back after this timeout.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkapfe. Immediately she came, we received her warmly, and as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a breech presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breech with already in labor. So she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy. Baby was sick. He said, "I've been sick for me. When he became land and way, once he told you me, mo gba kó bọ́ lọ́wọ́ mi, èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà, kò sí problem. Wọ́n attend mi gidigidi. Wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o. Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nurse àti doctor, Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o. Kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o. Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o. Wájú ní wọn lọ. Kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o. Ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o. In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program, and we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure, and we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
You're welcome back. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said the federal government is committed to the rescue of Leah Sharibu, one of the schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram in Dapchi, Yobe State. Osinbajo spoke during a town hall meeting with some Nigerians in New York, United States. The vice president stressed that over 108 girls had been rescued so far, noting that community policing could effectively tackle the nation's security challenges, including kidnappings. Osinbajo also reacted to questions asked by diaspora Nigerians on poverty and unemployment in the country. He lamented that the country recorded a population of 112.7 million people living in extreme poverty in 2010, claiming that the government during that period did not create social investments programs that will help ameliorate the situation. The Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, in its preliminary investigation report dated 31st May 2019, addressed to the Secretary to the Kano State Government, accused the Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II of spending the Kano Emirate Council's fund indiscriminately without regards to due process and the rule of law. Although the matter is still in court, the Global Center for Conscious Living Against Corruption organized a one-day sensitization workshop this Monday in Abuja in order to help raise awareness on the dangers such allegations portend and also reduce incidences of corruption in the country. Clearview TV's Joy Sekweyi has details.
Global Center for Conscious Living Against Corruption says it has been observing with keen interest the recent happenings in Kano State regarding the investigation of Kano Emirate Council over an alleged misappropriation of 3.4 billion naira under the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II. The Director General of Global Center for Conscious Living Against Corruption, Dr. Gabriel Nwambo, in his speech says the response of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi that he inherited 1.9 billion as against the claim of the Anti-Corruption Commission is not quite satisfactory. Gabriel added that the claim of the Emir that he is not the chief accounting officer of the Emirate but still approves its expenditure is nothing but shying away from the responsibility, adding it further creates more suspicion on his role in the alleged misappropriation.
The response of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II that he inherited 1.9 billion as against the claim of the Anti-Corruption Commission is not quite satisfactory. The Commission made its position very clear that its investigation is on alleged misappropriation and questionable expenditures, but not on the funds left behind by the late Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero.
The Director General further stated that another concern which requires thorough investigation is the fact that the Emir appears to justify a transfer of about 105 million naira into individual accounts of the Emirate staff, noting that the fund belongs to the state, which accommodates a large number of people living below poverty line, saying that with such funds, some people could be taken out of poverty.
The claim of the Emir that he is not the chief accounting officer of the Emirates and yet he approves its expenditure is nothing but shying away from responsibility and further creates more suspicion on his role in the alleged misappropriation. The issue of budget and auditing of the accounts, which the anti-graft agency all provided evidence to support their claim that the Emir, being an international financial expert, failed to act in accordance with such standards, is equally yet to be discountenanced.
Of the 36 states of the Federation, Kano is the only state that has a state-owned anti-graft agency. Hence, many are of the opinion that the governor of Kano, Abdullahi Gamduje, should ensure proper funding of the commission as well as facilitating the commission's financial autonomy to ensure maximum efficiency in the discharge of its duties. Joy Esekweyi, reporting for Clearview Television.
In Zamfara, State Commissioner of Police Barrister Usman Nagogo has given criminals among the Fulani headsmen a 2-week ultimatum to drop their arm or face dire consequences from the police in the state. Nagogo gave the ultimatum on Monday in Gusau during a peace reconciliation meeting with leaders of Fulani headsmen in the state in continuation of his meetings with all groups responsible for the current waves of banditry in the state. The Commissioner of Police warned the Fulani criminals in Zamfara State to surrender their arms as it was being done by the volunteer vigilance groups known as Gyan Saike. And no fewer than 40 prison inmates in Nigeria now have cause to smile whenever they serve out their prison terms. They are now proud holders of the Nigeria Certificate in Education in Economics and Social Studies from Yewa Central College of Education in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. Also, 20 other inmates have been enrolled and matriculated as students of Economics and Social Studies at the same institution. The inmates are currently serving at the Igbara prisons in Abeokuta At the joint graduation and matriculation ceremony, the Comptroller of Prisons Ogun State Command, Benson Abolade, said the command will continue to engage in reforming and rehabilitating inmates through the Prison Adult Remedial Education Program. Abolade said the program is aimed at providing access to adult education for inmates who were illiterate, as well as encourage those with secondary school education to get tertiary education through collaboration with Yewa Central College of Education. He explained that in 2017, 42 inmates were matriculated while 50 graduated from Yewa Central College of Education. He added that a total number of 35 inmates enrolled for the 2018 November-December private NECO examination at Old Abeokuta Prison and passed with good results. Provost of the college, Professor David Bankboshe, disclosed that the convocation was done for 3 sets from 2014 to 2018 academic session. He commended some officers of Ibarra prisons, like the officer in charge of education, Sikuru Adekunle, for their commitment. The overall best student to follow was Sele Orire. In his remarks, expressed willingness to be a teacher after his release from prison, adding that he had already commenced a first-degree program in computer science with the National Open University, Abuja. A telecommunication multinational, Nine Mobile, on Monday said it would provide toll-free emergency lines to National Youth Service Corps to assist corps members who may be in distress situation. The company stated that the provision of the lines to the NYSC and security agencies was part of its corporate social responsibility. The Nine Mobile Executive Director of Regulatory and Corporate Affairs, Abdurrahman Ado, said this during a courtesy visit to the NYSC Director General, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, in Abuja. According to a release by the NYSC Director of Press and Public Relations, Adenike Adeyemi, the Nine Mobile Director also presented a proposal on employment generation for corps members, which involves e-learning digital skills center at the 37 NYSC orientation camps. The NYSC DG Brigadier General Ibrahim said the empowerment of corps members through entrepreneurial training was one of the focal points of his policy thrust, adding that the scheme would be welcome offer of assistance from credible stakeholders. You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back after this break.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
You're welcome back. The proper development and growth of many children in Nigeria and other African countries remain problematic. As a way of proffering possible solutions, a non-governmental organization, Save the War on Children, at its Century of Change for Children, along with other concerned stakeholders, met in Abuja this Tuesday to discuss the way forward. Clearview TV's Busola Owaru was at the event and filed this report.
Melody Idowu and King Omali are Nigerian children, among many others, growing up in the country with high expectations of a promising future. However, many factors such as child labor, trafficking, kidnap, attacks in various forms, lack of quality education, among many others, militate against the development of most children in Africa.
It is also pertinent to use this opportunity also and remind our executive governors of the various states, especially of the 12th state where the child rights has not been fast, to please facilitate the realization of the rights of children.
The Nigerian government should give those children clothing, because give them those children their supplies, because as we just heard inside, the man that was speaking that owns the parts in Kaduna State said that Nigeria children, the children all over the world, are our present and our future. So to me, we are meant to help empower children to make them greater than we are.
Children are meant to live out their life to the fullest, like they said inside, that we are the present and the future. So no other person can take that away from us.
Fighting for child rights and saving the potentials of children in Africa with a view to reversing the trend remained a key challenge to the future of Nigerian children and others on the continent. The Save the Child initiative aimed at stamping out practices which are against the growth of children is offering a lease of life for the future generation.
How many times have we read or heard that children are our future? They're actually not our future, they are our present. And yet, the investment in things that children need to grow, the investment in education, the investment in health, remains way down the countries, not just this country, all countries' budgets.
We cannot endlessly say that Save the Children have not done a lot in Nigeria. When we visited the IDP camps last month in Borno State, let me announce to you that it was only teachers from Save the Save the Children that we have found teaching in the IDP camps. This is a plus to them. I also want to inform you that Save the Children have been building our capacity in crisis management.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who was represented, assures of unparalleled support of the federal government in this fight.
The Nigerian government recognizes the effect of violence on children, especially in humanitarian settings. The federal government of Nigeria should be supported to strengthen collective response and coordination for children in Nigeria.
As a way of protecting the future of Nigerian children, stakeholders advocate proper implementation of the Child Rights Act in states across the country. Children did not fail to entertain through drama presentation on the unity of Nigeria and stemming war against children. Busola Oworu, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and the World Organization for Animal Health, on Tuesday in Abuja, gathered focal persons from different African countries to review the occurrences and impacts of antimicrobial resistance on human health via food production. The workshop also aims at facilitating better regional networking through the establishment of a regional and inter-institutional working group of antimicrobial resistance. Our correspondent, Ifeoluwa Ishola, was there and now completes the story.
In Africa, as it is in the rest of the world, antimicrobial resistance is a serious issue due to the extensive trade and movement of people, livestock, and food products. One outbreak involving a resistant microorganism can quickly spread across borders and cause serious damages. Against this backdrop, the Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations brought together experts from relevant organizations and focal persons of African countries to sensitize them on the need to be acquainted with the prevention and mitigating of AMR. Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations Country Representative in Nigeria, Sofian Koroma, here represented by Ume Uzain, says AMR is a global threat to human and animal health, as it endangers modern human and veterinary medicine, as well as the safety of food and environment. He further said that the FAO has come up with measures to curb AMR occurrences and impacts.
The four focus areas are the following: improve awareness on AMR and related threats, develop capacity of AMR surveillance and monitoring and its use in food and agriculture, animal and human context, strengthen governance related to antimicrobial and use and IMR in food and agriculture, and the last one, promote good practices in food and agriculture, human and animal system, and the prudent use of antimicrobial.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Bello, says Luga is being duplicated in different locations in Nigeria to combat the consequences of AMR in animal breeding and food processing.
The Ruga settlement is one of the very, very important things, and is the best thing that can happen not only in Nigeria but most of our countries, Africa, South of Sahara. It's a concept that we developed to deal with internal security, and we felt that to do away with herders farmers conflicts, we need to settle nomads, not only mother nomads but those that breed animals. And in each and every state we are going to have at least nothing less than 6 locations which will start, and we settle these people along with other people that are interested in rearing animals and what have you.
Focal person of the World Health Organization, Hamzat Omotayo, says the use of antibiotics is becoming too conversant, that is becoming injurious to human health, including breeding of animals, which is in turn consumed by humans.
Farmers also use antimicrobial agents on their animals, either to cure disease or as growth hormone, and they are using appropriately. And because they are using appropriately, the animal develops resistance. The microbes in the animal develop resistance to these antibiotics. These same microbes, when the animals are killed, humans can eat those animals and carry those traits into themselves. So the challenge is very huge because of weak regulation, because antibiotics are freely and are available, and because we do not know how to use these antibiotics appropriately.
Antimicrobial resistance is the ability of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi or protozoa to grow despite exposure to antimicrobial substances designed to inhibit their growth. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
Citizens are asking President Muhammadu Buhari and his party, the APC, to pay attention to the 3-point agenda which formed the focus of their campaigns during the 2019 elections, namely security, economy, and the anti-corruption crusade, rather than seeking to make a statement on numerous matters without achieving anything substantial at the end of the day. Also, analysts say that the growing insecurity across the country deserves urgent attention of government with a strong political will to successfully tackle it. Joining us at 8 p.m. on Governance Today to take a look at some of the arising issues, and these and more, is a one-time presidential hopeful on the platform of United Democratic Party UDP, Godson Okoye. Mr. Okoye is a lawyer and is now the national chairman of the party. And moving on, the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Shimon Ben Shoshan, says that Israel will continue to open its doors to Nigeria for business and mutual relationships that will bring about development in the two countries. The ambassador restated this bilateral commitment during an interactive session with newsmen as part of activities put together by the Israeli embassy in Abuja to bid farewell to the outgoing Deputy Chief of Mission, Nadav Goren, at the formal introduction of his successor, Yotam Kriman. Clearview TV's Rose Audu was at the event and now reports.
Addressing journalists at the roundtable meeting, Ambassador Shimon Ben Shoshan said, aside from praying for at least 3 times for the peace and progress of Nigeria, the embassy has a number of projects targeted at promoting trade, health, culture and economic development for the mutual benefit of both countries.
This is another platform that we're looking forward in order to continue. There was also another meeting, a fantastic meeting with the Permanent Secretary of the Lodges. It was a very successful one. We're working about renewing the MOU because it's a bit old. We need to update it according to all the advantages, the new technology, etc., etc. Also that in that sense that we can also start working in different aspects between the Ministry of Health in Israel together also with the Ministry of Health in Nigeria.
The outgoing chief of mission, Nadav Goren, who has spent 5 years in Nigeria instead of the stipulated 3 years for diplomats in the history of the Embassy of Israel in Nigeria, in his farewell message pledged to do more for Nigeria in whatever capacity he finds himself after returning to his home country. Goren said he enjoyed his stay in Nigeria and will miss the country greatly, and prayed that his successor, Yotam, will enjoy the same cooperation which enabled him to carry out his duties without let or hindrance.
It's hard to sum up 5 years. Like I said before, I'll miss Nigeria very much, and I think what's I guess important, and what I will take away, and I think what's important to remember, is that Nigeria's most important natural resource is not oil, it's the people. I've come to know here people who are innovative and creative and have a drive for a better future. And I'll connect it to what I said at the beginning. When you look at either the startup scene here, and you see in other areas, whether it's in government or other areas, and you see the youth that really wants to move this country forward. So I think that I'll take away the people. I mean, the thing that I'll miss, and that I'll and I think it's the most kind of central here in Nigeria, is the people, beyond their warmth and the diversity which there's no other place in the world. I really think it's the hope for this country for a better future.
Also speaking, the new Deputy Chief of Mission, Yotan Kreman, said he is prepared to do everything in his capacity to bring about rapid development in Nigeria, especially in the area of technology, and expressed his willingness to work with the media to reach out to the Nigerian public.
That I get a chance to know you. I would highly appreciate hearing from each of you, if you can go in a circle, about where you're from and what media you're working with. And it's also important for me to continue the same line that Nadav started. Our doors are open. We're very happy to work with you, very happy to invite you, very happy to cooperate.
Both the Israeli and Nigerian governments have enjoyed warm and long-lasting positive bilateral relationship over the years and appear determined to keep it that way, to build stronger ties in the years to come. Rose Audu, reporting for Clearview Television.
Iran says a U.S. decision to order sanctions on its supreme leader and other officials has permanently closed the path to diplomacy between Tehran and Washington. The Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi said in a tweet that imposing useless sanctions on Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the commander of Iran's diplomacy and Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif is the permanent closure of the path of diplomacy. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order Monday imposing new sanctions against Iran's supreme leader, foreign minister, and 8 Revolutionary Guard commanders as tensions mount after Tehran's downing of an unmanned U.S. drone. Trump said the sanctions will deny the supreme leader and the supreme leader's office and those closely affiliated with him and the office access to key financial resources and support. In reaction, Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said later on Tuesday that the fresh U.S. sanctions shows Washington's desperation and it would not succeed. Rouhani dismissed the new sanctions the United States imposed on Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei as outrageous and idiotic and described the White House as mentally retarded. In a speech broadcast live on the state television, Rouhani said sanctions against Khamenei would fail because he had no assets abroad. Still, on the latest U.S. sanctions against Iran, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said starting another tension in that area with Iran that borders Afghanistan can also jeopardize a very delicate situation with Afghanistan. He said Pakistan wants to see a negotiated way out of these tensions, as heightened tensions in the region will neither help the US nor Iran and the entire region. Reports say the US and the Taliban are trying to work out a deal to end the 18-year-long war in Afghanistan. Sources say the upcoming peace talks will be focused on a timeline for the withdrawal of US-led troops from Afghanistan. You're watching Clearview Television News. Up next is sports after this timeout.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutimeyin Tolulapo Ogutimeyin. The Barbars won this year's edition of JCI Azo Novelty Games held at the hockey pitch of the MKO Abiola Stadium. The Barbars defeated Yara 5-4 on penalty after normal duration ended in a draw. The report. Chairman of FC Heart Football Club Adam Mohamed has emerged as the chairman of FCT FA election held at Capri Suite Hotel Kuje. Mohamed polled a total of 11 votes to defeat the incumbent chairman Musa Tale, who got 4 votes. Speaking after the election, Adam Mohamed said his administration planned to invest in youth and put structure in place that would turn around the fortune of football stakeholders in FCT.
We want to develop facilities, pitches in the area councils and in and around Abuja. And we also hope to develop human capital, the coaches, the players, administrators, and even all other stakeholders. We wish to carry everybody along and develop.
Ngozi, who happens to be the only female on the board, said she will work vigorously for the growth of women football in FCT.
I'm only the female in the board, so it will make me to at least go more, push those men to be able to look for sponsor with them so that we can get more talent and promising FCT also that the league will come back to FCT.
By the grace of God, we are going to develop youth in Football Council of Federation.
In other elections, Patrick Ugogo, the incumbent vice chairman, lost to Kolo Salisu, who had 10 votes, to defeat Patrick Ugogo, who got 5 votes. For the office of second vice chairman, John Gaza secured a total number of 9 votes to defeat Seriki Hamidu, who got 6 votes. Ngozi Eze got 11 votes to defeat Barrister Victoria Lemigbo, who got 4 votes for the position of female representative in the board. In other elections for the position of ordinary board member, the following emerged winners: Hasimiu Adamu, 9 votes, Patrick Bassi, 8 votes, Wakilu John, 7 votes, Abimbola Samuel, 9 votes. That was a report on the FCCFA election, where Adams Mohamed emerged the new chairman of the FCT Football Association. And that's the size of the package from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutimeyin Tolulapo Ogutimeyin.
Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side.
And that's the size of our news. Before we go, a look at our top stories. About 60 presidential candidates in the 2019 general elections have faulted the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar over the controversy surrounding the use of a server, describing it as unnecessary. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said the federal government is committed to the rescue of Leah Sharibu, one of the schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram in Dapchi, Yobe State. Iran says a U.S. decision to order sanctions on its supreme leader and other officials has permanently closed the path to diplomacy between Tehran and Washington. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online, follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online. You can also follow us on Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I'm Prudence Okonna, and thanks for watching.